Hey, how you doing? You're here with email, and we have just went over just the introductory types, dealings with the mandate for leadership. This is Project 2025, the conservatives playbook on how this is something that's been in the works before election day. So we're going to be listening to the section one. And the section one is going to be taking the reins from government. All right.
Section 1 Taking the Reins of Government. America's Bicentennial, which culminated on July 4, 1976, was a spirited and unifying celebration of our country, its founding, and its ideals. As we approach our nation's 250th anniversary, which will take place during the next presidency, America is now divided between two opposing forces, woke revolutionaries and those who believe in the ideals of the American Revolution. The former believe that America is and always has been systemically racist and that it is not worth celebrating and must be fundamentally transformed, largely through a centralized administrative state. The latter believe in America's history and heroes, its principles and promise, and in everyday Americans and the American way of life. They believe in the Constitution and Republican government. Conservatives, the Americanists in this battle, must fight for the soul of America, which is very much at stake. Just 2 years after the death of the last surviving Constitutional Convention delegate, James Madison, Abraham Lincoln warned that the greatest threat to America would come not from without, but from within. This is evident today, whether it be mask and vaccine mandates, school and business closures, efforts to keep Americans from driving gas cars or using gas stoves, or efforts to defund the police, indoctrinate school children, alter beloved books, abridge free speech, undermine the colorblind ideal, or deny the biological reality that there are only two sexes. The left's steady stream of insanity appears to be never-ending. The next administration must stand up for American ideals, American families, and American culture, all things in which, thankfully, most Americans still believe. Highlighting this need, former director of the Office of Management and Budget Russ Vought writes in Chapter 2, the modern conservative president's task is to 20 mandate for leadership, the conservative promise limit, control, and direct the executive branch on behalf of the American people. At the core of this goal is the work of the White House and the central personnel agencies. Article 2 of the Constitution vests all federal executive power in a president, made accountable to the citizenry through regular elections. Our founders wrote, the executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. Accordingly, Vought writes, it is the President's agenda that should matter to the departments and agencies, not their own. Yet the federal bureaucracy has a mind of its own. Federal employees are often ideologically aligned not with the majority of the American people but with one another, posing a profound problem for Republican government, a government of, by, and for the people. As Donald Devine, Dennis Kirk, and Paul Dans write in Chapter 3, an autonomous bureaucracy has neither independent constitutional status nor separate moral legitimacy. Byzantine personnel rules provide the bureaucrats with their chief means of self-protection. What's more, knowledge of such rules is used to thwart the president's appointees and agenda. As Devine, Kirk, and Dans write, managing the immense bureaucracy of the federal government is impossible without an understanding of the key central personnel agencies and their governing laws and regulations. Many of these laws and regulations governing a largely underworked, overcompensated, and unaccountable federal civilian workforce are so irrational that they would be comical in a less important context. This is true whether it comes to evaluating employees' performance or hiring new employees. Only in the federal government could an applicant in the hiring process be sent to the front of the line because of a history of drug addiction or alcoholism, or due to morbid obesity, irritable bowel syndrome, or a psychiatric disorder. The next administration should insist that the federal government's hiring, evaluation, retention, and compensation practices benefit taxpayers, rather than benefiting the lowest rung of the federal workforce. In order to carry out the president's desires, political appointees must be given the tools, knowledge, and support to overcome the federal government's obstructionist human resources departments. More fundamentally, the new administration must fill its ranks with political appointees. Devine, Kirk, and Dens observed that the Trump administration appointed fewer political appointees in its first few months in office than any other recent presidency. This left career employees in charge in many places. This can occur even after departments have been fully staffed with political appointees. Vaught writes that the White House Office of Management and Budget, OMB, should establish a reputation as the keeper of commander's intent, yet OMB is dominated by career employees who often try to overrule political appointees serving in the various executive departments. Empowering political appointees across the administration is crucial to a president's success. 21 Section 1, taking the reins of government above all, the president and those who serve under him or her must be committed to the Constitution and the rule of law. This is particularly true of a conservative administration, which knows that the president is there to uphold the Constitution, not the other way around. If a conservative administration does not respect the Constitution, no administration will. In Chapter 1, former Deputy Chief of Staff to the President Rick Dearborn writes that the White House Counsel must take seriously the duty to protect the powers and privileges of the President from encroachments by Congress, the judiciary, and the administrative components of departments and agencies. Equally important, the President must enforce the Constitution and laws as written, rather than proclaiming new law unilaterally. Presidents should not issue mask or vaccine mandates, arbitrarily transfer student loan debt, or issue monarchical mandates of any sort. Legislatures make the laws in a republic, not executives. It is crucial that all three branches of the federal government respect what Madison called the double security to our liberties, the separation of powers among the three branches, and the separation of powers between the federal government and the states. This double security has been greatly compromised over the years. Vaught writes that the modern executive branch writes federal policy, enforces that policy, and often adjudicates whether that policy was properly drafted and enforced. He describes this as constitutionally dire and in urgent need of repair, adding, "Nothing less than the survival of self-governance in America is at stake." When it comes to ensuring that freedom can flourish, nothing is more important than deconstructing the centralized administrative state. Political appointees who are answerable to the president and have decision-making authority in the executive branch are key to this essential task. The next administration must not cede such authority to nonpartisan experts, who pursue their own ends while engaging in groupthink, insulated from American voters. The following chapters detail how the next administration can be responsive to the American people, not to entrenched elites, how it can take care that all the laws are faithfully executed, not merely those that the president desires to see executed, and how it can achieve results and not be stymied by an unelected bureaucracy.
Hey, what's going on? You back with me? That would be the end of Section 1, taking the reins of government. Just a few key notes I like to talk about. Let me get back to it. So the way that we can counter some of this, if you like to, is emphasize the role of federal agencies in safeguarding public interest, advocate for the importance of a robust and independent federal bureaucracy that ensures fairness and consistency across the government, free from partisan influence. The ideal of an autonomous bureaucracy helps protect essential services and upholds laws equitably, regardless of the changing political climate. The next thing we can do is to support for the expertise and professionalism, challenge the view that unelected bureaucrats Challenge the view that unelected bureaucrats or experts are inherently harmful to democracy. Highlight the value of having career professionals who bring specialized knowledge and long-term perspectives to complex issues like public health, environmental protection, and national security. The third thing will be defend regulatory agencies. Argue that regulations are essential for protecting the environment, ensuring consumer safety, managing public health, and regulating financial systems. The regulatory state has often played a crucial role in balancing the interest of businesses, citizens, and the broader public good. The fourth thing, advocate for a more inclusive approach to governance. Point out that the current political divide reflects broader demographic changes and shifts in public opinion. A truly representative government should ensure the inclusion of marginalized voices and address issues like systematic racism, inequality, and climate change, which the woke critics often highlight. The fifth thing, promote the separation of powers. Reinforce the importance of maintaining checks and balances among the three branches of government: executive, legislative, and judicial. The ideal of the executive consolidating too much power, as described in what we read, could undermine democratic principles in the very concept of separation of powers, which protects individuals' liberties and ensures accountability. Number six, highlight the need for administrative oversight. Advocate for stronger oversight mechanisms to ensure that federal agencies remain accountable to the people in Congress. Instead of dismantling the administrative state, focus on reforming it to make it more transparent, efficient, and responsive to public needs. Number seven, promote evidence-based policymaking. Push for policies based on scientific evidence and data-driven decision-making. While critics argue that administrative experts are detached from the will of the people, effective governance relies on well-informed, fact-based approaches that can address complex issues like healthcare, climate change, and economic inequalities. Number eight, encourage protection of civil rights and freedoms. Defend the importance of maintaining strong civil rights protections, including issues like gender and racial equality, reproductive rights, and LGBTQ plus rights. Push back against any attempt to roll back advancements in civil rights by emphasizing the importance of safeguarding the freedoms and protections guaranteed by the Constitution. Number nine, oppose unilateral executive action. Support the idea that while the executive must enforce laws, Congress must play a central role in passing legislation. Emphasize the need for collaborative governance and discourage the use of executive orders or mandates as a substitute for proper legislative processes. And last but not least, number 10, promote unity and national cohesion. Counter the idea that the nation is irreparable and irreparably divided by fostering dialogue, inclusivity, and efforts to unite different ideological groups. Encourage policies that seek common ground and foster national healing rather than dividing the national further. So these points will help us promote inclusion and create some kind of balance and collaborative approach to governing. These will be part of some of the workshops that we're going to be having. One of the workshops that we're going to be having shortly, April 21st or 23rd, is going to be between 6 to 8 p.m. If you're interested in joining in that discussion, go ahead and look below. Outside of that, remember Tesla Takedown every Saturday. Go ahead, find one near you. If you were part of the April 5th Hands Off Our Democracy, really appreciate you. When it comes down to Resistance Lab, make it a point to try to sign up for that. I will be taking advantage of that shortly. But before I do that, we're going to have to get through this mandate so we can know for ourselves what it says word for word. And we've only been through section 1, but we're about to go through section 2. Section 2. Well, we're still in section 1. This is going to be about White House office. The author is going to be Rick Dearborn. All right, Rick Dearborn. We do have some notes about him, but at this point in time, that's not for this section. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to you listening to more of for the next section of this subsection is going to be White House office. All right. Like, comment, subscribe, share.